So I'm here with Kevin Wheeler, and we're in Fremont, California, and I've got a couple of questions that sort of fall out of the Future of Talent retreats that I know you conduct. Now, this sort of the old way of looking at the future of talent, which was competencies, and it's like knowledge management. A lot of it's top down. And now there seems to be more of a focus on roles. Tell us about that. What's going on? Why does anybody care?
Well, I think there's a couple of things going on right now in the corporate world that I think anybody who works in that world is well aware of. And the first thing is that it's really hard to find good people to do various jobs inside companies. There may be plenty of people who are unemployed, there may be lots of people out there, but to really find the right person to meet the requirements that you have internally is pretty hard for most companies right now to find those people. The second thing is we're doing more with fewer people. So organizations are trying to get by with far fewer people than they've had before. And when these two things sort of come together, you kind of get a paradigm shift back to the future, I kind of say, back to where we were, which is really going away from the specialist and back to more of a generalist in the workplace. And by that I mean a person who takes their broad-based skills and competencies and applies them wherever they make sense in the organization. So rather than constraining you to jobs that fit your job description or your title or your position, you're able to go wherever it makes sense for those competencies and skills to be applied. You can make the call, somebody else can make the call and ask you to come in and do that. A good example might be an engineer. And you say, well, an engineer's basic skills are probably quantitative analytical skills. So wherever there's a need for quantitative analytical skills, if HR is looking at metrics, if marketing is looking at metrics, there might be a really good role for an engineer to play in giving them some input or some ideas. Now, in most organizations that I've been part of, that would be impossible, because an engineer's job is to do engineering stuff and to work on blueprints or whatever it is they work on, and they certainly would never be invited to marketing or HR to give any kind of advice. So I think what we're saying here is that all of us have a broad set of competencies. These competencies apply outside of our silo, and role-based organizations are beginning to try to move people in those directions.
Well, we have some evidence somewhere up there that indeed this is an impromptu, real conversation rather than one of those scripted things in a studio. Kevin, this sounds a lot like what I'm hitting in the world of learning, where there used to be a big focus on learning, and for me now the focus is on doing, and it's on readiness, and it's on just jumping in where you can make a bigger dent. Is that? Are those really the same thing going on there?
I think pretty much so. I think if you look at a company, and Google is maybe not the perfect example, but it's an example of an organization that's taking people and saying, you know, well, technically on a piece of paper you have this job title and this job function. In practice, we just want you to be a good team player and contribute wherever you can to this team based on your skills, your competencies, your interests. Now, for a lot of people, that's going to require some learning. They're going to have to learn about the project they're on. If you're an engineer and you're suddenly thrust into, I don't know, the Google Map world, you probably don't know a whole lot about cartography or mapping or, geosynchronous orbiting satellites or anything else. Suddenly you have to learn about that stuff. So you're right into your world of, and formally I've got to learn all this stuff. At the same time, I've got to contribute using my skills and my competencies in a way that is useful for my organization and produces some kind of result. So yeah, I think there's a tremendous synergy between informal learning, between this role-based organization, between the need that we're hearing every day for collaboration. And all collaboration is meaning we work out our silos, we contribute. We don't hog the limelight. We don't think we're always right. We're willing to give and take and engage in conversation with people. So, I think it's a very healthy movement. Unfortunately, I think only a handful of companies are recognizing this and trying to really implement it in a serious way inside their company.
Well, if it's okay with you, I'd like to be able to come back to talk more about this topic. We'll see if there are comments on the blog. But there's a lot of stuff to explore here.
Absolutely.
Training's no longer training. HR is not just HR. Talent management's across the board. So,
absolutely.
Okay.
It's a great topic, and I look forward to coming back. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you very much.